Hello, welcome back.
To Everything Is.
And this week is Everything is Witchcraft and Tarot.
Everything is. We're getting not spooky.
A little
Spiritual
spooky.
today.
A little spooky and spiritual.
Yeah. Face reveal edition.
If you don't already know this, which you probably should if you know radio, because we were on the executive board for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
Today we're at the Coven House.
Yeah.
And we're participating in a spiritual tarot event.
Yeah. And so Eva's actually downstairs for this, getting her cards read. But there was another speaker upstairs talking all about like astrology and the houses, Placidus versus whole sign readings. And I mean, this is all something that I'm super interested in. Like, I know Eva's big three by heart.
Yeah. Say them right now.
Eva is a Gemini sun, a Taurus moon, and a Cancer rising.
Boom.
Do you know mine?
No, I don't. I know Gemini sun, and I know you have one more Gemini placement in your big three.
Yep.
And then you have another one that's not a Gemini.
They're all air.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm a Gemini sun, a Gemini moon, and a Libra rising.
Libra rising, yes.
Yes. Hence why I like the what's it called? Like low saturation look.
Yeah. That's your Libra rising?
Yeah, a lot of Libra risings are like summers or springs, so like their palette is very similar. There's not like a lot of harsh differences.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, but we are getting a lesson on like all the different houses within the zodiacs, and like their degrees.
Something I didn't know is that the first house, according to some astrologers, is ruled by Mercury. I always assumed that it was ruled by Mars because in my head, I usually use Placidus when I'm like talking about astrology. I associate the houses with the signs, and so the first sign is Aries, and so the first house in my head was always ruled by Mars.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that according to some it was ruled by Mercury. I think that's really interesting.
I think so too. And it really shows that like the different astrology that you study will change the way that you perceive the texts. Yeah. We were actually, funnily enough, just talking about because Lauren had a conversation with the person that was giving the presentation, and because you have your rising in the 29th degree?
Yep.
And so it's like they were talking because it's like they could have been a Gemini rising.
Nope.
Right? No.
Scorpio.
It could have been a Scorpio rising, but it was just a little bit off. And so it was this whole thing where it was like the way that you deal with certain things in your life, or the way that things surround you in your life, is kind of how you like decide that degree depending on like what chart you're looking at.
Yeah.
And so like we were talking about how like the Scorpio rising like is really associated with like loss in life.
To an extent. Well, it's the fact that if I were where I'm at, I'm Libra rising, but I have a Scorpio. Nope, I have an 8th house stellium in Gemini, even though my 8th house starts Taurus. And so I would really align with the 8th house and even with Scorpio risings, because that's where it would typically align. If I was like an earlier Libra rising, then I would have my 9th house in Gemini, which is mainly about like travel and education, which I do also align with because I was talking to them and they were asking if I had a lot of experience like outside of the country, if I were pursuing higher education in like different languages, if I were pursuing higher education in general, which are all true.
Yes.
I'm planning on going to law school. I'm obtaining a minor in French. I studied abroad for a month and I've been out of the country several times. But at the same time, a lot of my life experiences very closely relate to the 8th house, which are about like death and taboo topics and things like that. So it's very
fascinating.
It's very fascinating, very like subjective,
yeah.
dare I say.
And you need to like really analyze your life to even understand like the certain like the topics that they're even talking about and how they relate to your life.
Yes.
And so I like during the presentation, I wrote down that the fifth house is rooted in love and celebrates Venus, the goddess Venus. And then the 11th house is the expansion of community, the expansion of your hopes and ambitions.
And similarly, the 7th house is the house of partnerships. So typically, the house that like your 7th house is in, the ruler of that house is a partner that you'll most likely look towards. For example, like my 7th house is in Aries.
So you like would look for like an Aries like romantically more often,
or like a very strong-minded individual, very passionate. Passion is something that I really look for in relationships, or like in any of my relationships in general.
Fire sign qualities.
Fire or earth. I like a fire and earth sign.
Yeah.
I can't deny it. And similarly with your 10th house often relates to like your careers. And so your midhaven is always in the peak of your 10th house. So, I mean, I know my chart really well.
Yeah.
My midhaven is in Leo, so it means that I like do best in roles where I'm often seen. And so a lot of my careers that are recommended are like things like an actor or like a CEO or like leadership roles, which makes sense because I've always been in leadership positions.
Yeah.
And I mean, I want to go into law, which I think aligns with being a Libra rising because we care a lot about balance. Same with being a Gemini, we care about like duality, the balance, the talking, etc.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go into fashion, which is like a very seen environment.
Yes.
I know. You're
really fulfilling your zodiac.
Oh, trust. I talked about this with my therapist. Like, I know.
I love it.
Yeah. Do you know your 10th house?
I don't. I can pull up CoStar, but
well, you're a Cancer rising.
Yeah.
So that means that your 6th house is in Aquarius. You're most likely. I don't know your exact degree.
My 6th house is right. That's why there's a 6. Mm-hmm. Okay, my 6th house is in Pluto, Sagittarius.
Nope. Your Pluto is in your 6th house in Sagittarius. Interesting.
My 12th house is in Saturn is in Cancer, which is in Saturn.
Yes.
And I have 3 Gemini placements. My Sun, my Mercury, and my Venus are all Gemini placements.
Your 10th house is in Aries, most likely.
Yeah.
Go to your circle. Just looking on CoStar. No judgment.
My circle?
Oh, go back to you.
This is me. Oh, I see.
Circle.
Yeah, no shame if you use CoStar. We love CoStar. I only remember
we appreciate CoStar. I actually don't know how much is verted to the side, but you know what? That's okay. Okay, so you are a Cancer rising. So that's your first house. First house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house.
6th house, 7th house, 8th house, 9th house, 10th house. Yep. So 10th is in Aries.
Actually, it starts in Pisces.
Oh, Pisces and Aries.
Pisces, MC.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I love that.
All right. Well, we are going to check in with you again later. We're going to talk about our experiences, our tarot readings, things like that.
See you soon.
I'm so excited to be doing this. Thank you. Bye.
Hello.
Hey, we're back in the studio.
And we just wanted to tell you guys a little bit more about tarot because we were talking all about astrology. And, well, this was like an astrological event. It was also a lot about tarot and divination, things like that. And so we just thought it would be really interesting to talk a little bit more about it.
So what is tarot, Lauren?
Tarot is cards used for divination. Typically, they have like 4 suits, and then there are 21 major arcana. So the 4 suits are typically the wands, swords, cups, and
coins, batons.
Coins, or they're also called, and and pentacles. And so all of them have slightly different meanings. For example, the wands, also known as like batons, clubs, they represent the element of fire, and they are typically more represent like will and creativity. Swords, also known as blades, represent air, and they are more reasoning or logic, wisdom, intellect. Cups, known as chalices, goblets, vessels, are more for spiritual matters. They're water. They're also like emotions, love, and the pentacles, also like coins, discs, rings, are for earth, and they're material matters or possessions and career. And so those are known as the minor arcana. They're like 1 through 10. It's the same as a card of like a deck of cards. And they'll have a king, a queen, and then they'll either have a prince or a knight, and then a page or a princess. It really just depends on what deck of tarot cards you have, because like different authors of them will choose different titles, although they're the same card. And so you'll have 1 through 10 of those for the minor arcana, and then you have 21 major arcana. And those are going to be things like the high priestess, the empress, the emperor, the sun, the moon, the fool, the hanged man. There are 21 of them. There are a lot. I'm not going to list all of them. But those are a lot about like the individual card has more of a meaning. While with a minor arcana, if you pull like the 2 of pentacles, that has something to do with like earthly possessions, and it's about like what the 2 means for you, for the reader, for that deck in particular. And so the most common reading for like tarot decks are going to be present, past, and future, and then sometimes like a 4th card will pop out, and then there are like 5 card spreads, 8 card spreads, custom spreads. My family used to make me do them at the beginning of like every year for like every new year, where it's like a full 12 card read, and each card is supposed to represent a month. And so you have like personal journeys that you'll go through each month that card is going to like kind of tell you about. And while they are for divination, it's not going to exactly tell you what's happening. It's going to like give you ideas or point you in the realm of it. And so there are a lot of like tarot readers on TikTok, and they always say like, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And so they might be saying something very specific, like, oh, the cards are telling me that an ex is going to come back into your like life. And some people could take that as a romantic ex, some people platonic, or just
like something that you quit a while ago that you're like bringing back up now.
Yeah, exactly. And so really they are a lot about like where you're coming from with your mindset. Just because the reader says something specific doesn't necessarily mean that that's what it's going to mean for you.
Yeah, and like it actually started as a card game in like Italy a really long time ago, and it only really gained its spirituality aspect after French occultists claimed it and added like the whole divination aspect to it, which I think is actually really interesting because it makes a lot of sense how the deck is laid out. Because I don't have too much experience with tarot, I feel like I can really see like it from the outside, I guess. And it's like of course they don't have any of the major cards, but like the 4 suits and then the 10 numbers in each suit I think is really interesting. They actually still have a game, like there's an Italian game. I think it's called like Tarocchi or something like that. What is it called? Oh,
Tarocchini.
Tarocchini. And I think that's so much, I don't know, it's like I love that it was able to take on like so many different forms. Like I don't know, I love that it was able to like be claimed by 2 different cultures. And now in America especially, I feel like you can't really, at least like correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like unless you have experience with like Italian history, that's not something that you would know. You would automatically think of the French influence on the tarot first. And like, especially with the word tarot, like when we were first looking things up and I saw that it was like, it started Italian, in my head I was like, that doesn't make any sense because like Italian doesn't have the silent T. But that's because this is the version of tarot that is this like the one tied to divination and all that kind of stuff.
But this game also did get very popular within Balkan regions, which I think is very interesting.
Represent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, I can't super speak on a lot of Balkan history. I've only known what I've been told. But Serbia was pagan for a really long time. And so, like, some things, so, like, we still celebrate, so something called Slava is technically a pagan holiday because we celebrate specific saints. So, like, they used to be their own gods or something like that. And so that was really interesting to learn. But I feel like that definitely has to do with like, well, with astrology, there's the like different Roman gods are tied to specific planets and specific signs, right? And so it's like it kind of has that aspect to it, but instead of it being like tied to like something that you are born into, it's like the specific god is tied, or like saint is tied to a specific day that you celebrate instead of like a birthday, you know? So that's really interesting too. And so I guess like paganism has such deep roots in Europe, and it honestly doesn't surprise me at all that that's like where this originated from.
Yeah, I mean, all of it was pagan before like Christianity especially took over. Every nation had their own religion, even if they're similar, like with the Greeks and Romans, where, yeah, in astrology, constellations are the entire thing, in which the Romans and Greeks based a lot of like science on and a lot of their own divination on. A lot of their myths, especially in Greek, had a lot to do with constellations, with certain stories about how those constellations became what they are, like Cassiopeia. And there are stories about like the constellation of Leo and Libra and the twins for Gemini, Castor and Pollux. Like,
yeah, definitely. There's so many, it's so completely interconnected, like within, it's like a whole system, genuinely. And like the more that we were learning about it, it opened my eyes really, because I feel like I don't know, there's like a general, at least in the friend groups that I run in, there's like a general understanding of astrology, like some things are this way, some things are that way, but I've only really like looked into it at like a really surface level. And so having that, we had like a whole presentation given to us by one of the members, or I believe it was one of the members, but it was honestly really eye-opening because there's so many houses that mean different things that are represented by different gods that are connected to different planets. And it's like, I had no idea that this system was so complex. Like there's so many things that tie into one another. And something that we also talked about, Lauren and I, was that like there's different ways that people learn about astrology. And so like Lauren had a different idea of what some things were than like what this person was telling us, just because they learned it from like different sources that like believed different things. And I think that that's so interesting to see like the wide variety of that, even in like one specific area. Like we're both in Chicago. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like crazy to see like all the differences, I guess, in such a community.
Well, because, yeah, I think I said before, like they did whole sign, or they do whole sign, which is a very common way of like looking at astrology. And I don't want to say it's a little simpler, but in some other types of looking at it, there's more nuances versus whole sign. Okay, the beginning of your house starts in this sign. The entire house is that sign, like no exceptions. Versus like, oh, like this house starts in this sign, but then you have these 3 placements in this sign, even though it's also kind of in that house, but because the placements are in this sign within that house, they're that sign. Like my 8th house starts in Taurus, but I have like 4 signs in Gemini that are also in my 8th house, but they're Gemini 8th house placements. They're not Taurus 8th house placements. But according to like whole sign, they're Taurus. Because my entire 8th house is Taurus, but I look at Placidus. And something else that I meant to bring up, but that I find really interesting, is that the zodiac signs also have like kind of an assigned tarot card. And I really like this. There's this whole thing that I've been seeing online about like, what's it called? Like it's like life charts or something, where you have like a number and like relates to a specific tarot card, or like life path numbers. And I remember like my central one is number 4, and that correlates to the Emperor, which means certain things about like me and my history and my personality and my future and etc. But yeah, I think it's really interesting how the zodiac signs correlate to certain tarot cards. So for example, like Aries is the Emperor, Taurus is the Hierophant, Gemini are the Lovers, Cancer is the Chariot, Leo is Strength, Virgo the Hermit, Libra Justice, Scorpio Death, Sagittarius Temperance, Capricorn the Devil, Aquarius the Star, and Pisces the Moon. And I believe that these also really correlate with like the houses that are assigned with those like signs as well.
Yeah.
Especially with something like Aquarius, the star, or that's also the 11th house. It's very much like change, adaptation, being like very intuitive, things like that. Or like with Aries being the Emperor, who is very headstrong, very much like a leader, things like that. And I think it's so interesting how they're all connected.
I love that the Gemini are the Lovers.
Of course, because the Lovers are they're all major arcana. The Lovers are like the only card with like
Two people on it?
focuses. Yeah. And I think like with the sign Gemini, there's a lot of misplaced hate where it's like two-faced, or you have two different personalities. But I don't think it's necessarily like having two different personalities in a bad way. I think that there may be two conflicting sides to you, but there's also just a very complex story. Yeah.
Yeah, we're very multifaceted people. It's like
Yeah.
a wide range of people say it's like multiple personalities, but it's like it's really just enjoying a wide range of people around you and being
Mhm.
able to like bring out that side of yourself around them.
It's a lot about duality.
Exactly. The duality of man.
Yeah.
This website says Gemini's duality matches the Lovers, a card of choices, relationships, and harmony. Quick thinking Geminis mirror the card's theme of weighing options and navigating partnerships. Oh boy, do I weigh options before I make a decision.
Oh boy.
But I love it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love it when I like fall into the stereotype of something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it makes me feel very seen.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
It's like I fit part of the group. I'm part of the in-group if you know communication.
And that's why I really do love astrology, because I really do love like analyzing my birth chart and analyzing these houses and seeing what that says about me, about my future. It helps me like know things. I love knowing things. I need to know everything. And I can just really like better explore myself as a person, and like take it into consideration to get to like where I want to be in my life.
Exactly. And it's like, I don't know, the more I learn about it, the more I get excited about like seeing like what stays, what inspires me, all that kind of stuff. It makes me really happy and like, I don't know, excited to learn about like the possibilities that like maybe my future hold because I'm like a specific way. Or like I was the type of girl to always take personality quizzes when I was younger.
Oh, yeah.
And still do, to be honest.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I love a personality quiz. And I feel like zodiac and astrology, it's not a personality quiz, but in a way, it's like telling you aspects about yourself, which I think is really comforting. I love being told things about myself.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was like my tarot reading specifically was really eye-opening. I feel like I really vibed with my tarot, like my reader. Shout out. But they I don't know, like I love that they really took the time, and like usually you come in to tarot with a question. I didn't really know that. And so I was kind of like, this is where I'm at, kind of hand it to me, you know? And they took a second for us to sit and to take a deep breath. Like I had to put my hand on the cards so that they could feel my energy. And they said, like, whenever you're ready, basically, like, you know, like take a second, take a deep breath, connect, whatever. And then whenever you're ready, we can start. And in my reading, I got the ones that stood out to me were, I got the 7 or 8 of swords, no, 9 of swords, sorry. And then I got, the 5 of Pentacles, and I got the 2 of Swords as well. Sorry, no, the 3 of Swords, which is, I've heard, is like the hardest one, but it's also like, okay, so that one was especially important because it was like a moment. It was like, it could mean like death. It could mean like cutting someone off. It could mean like a plethora, basically. It's kind of like what Lauren was talking about earlier. Like there's so many different things that these messages could be sending, basically. And like, I know that there's like, you know, it's like reading between the lines, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, in that, I don't know, like if you're looking for it, I guess like it will find you. And so you'll know what sticks when you hear it because it'll stick. Anyways, so that was really cool. Just because it was like a lot of my reading was based around just like last year and stuff like that. And so it was like a moment where, I don't know, it was like the cutting off is like a new version of me, a new part of my life, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, it really stuck with me. And like the 3 of Swords, they told me can be, like I mentioned, kind of brutal just because of all the negativity that it usually brings. But it also matters like how you pull it. I don't know if I didn't get any upside down cards or if my tarot reader doesn't do upside down cards. I have no clue. But all my cards were right side up. So it's like the true, because like if it's upside down, that means that there's like an anti-meaning or something like that. It's like the opposite of itself, right?
Yeah. I don't think I got any reverse cards either. But yeah, usually it's, yeah, kind of like the opposite or reversed, or like it can be that meaning with a twist.
Yeah, and it was like, and then the 5 of Pentacles, it was like how we talked about earlier, it's like career, right? It can be like something like very growth like inspired. And I'm graduating college, so like obviously that was it. And I don't know, it was just like a moment of, it's just like a new era of the life. I don't know, it was really confirming to hear. I went in sort of skeptical but really enthusiastic, and it was just really beautiful. But I've never had my tarot read to me before, so also this was like the first time I was able to experience something like this, which was pretty cool. Except for that one time. Well, I didn't get my tarot read, but I watched Lauren get their tarot read.
Ooh.
It was done by our friend Mina, and
Shout out.
she clocked you.
She clocked me bad.
It was so good
really
watching
bad. That was like, Mina and I had like met sometime like a year and a half before that. Neither of us really remembered at that point. And so it was my first time like actually meeting her, and she like whips out a tarot deck and is like, "Who wants a reading?" And I'm like, "I want a reading." And then she starts talking about this really specific situation that happened really recently at that time that she should not have known about at all. There's no way that she could have known about that because no one knew about that.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. And she was like, "You're thinking about doing this thing with da 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 da. Don't do that." And I was like,
Gulp.
"What are you talking about? What are
Literally.
you talking about? What are you talking about?" And like, I've had my tarot read before. I think at that point I had it read a couple months before by like a friend of an old friend. And that was a very nice reading. That was not clocking me. That was like saying that I need to like believe that I deserve good things and they will come.
That's beautiful.
Which low-key was really ironic because a lot of funny things happened after that. But like I had like read a lot for my family, and I did a lot of readings for myself, and low-key I think I'm going to do one when I get home because that's all that I'm thinking about right now.
Honestly, yeah. It was like, I feel like watching it though, I don't know, it was like, I feel like Mina was really just telling you things that you needed to hear at that time.
And that's how it usually works, or like
Yeah.
is supposed to work.
Yeah. It's like you just hear it and you're like, wow, you really got me there.
Yeah.
It's like, damn. Literally, that happened to me. I started laughing at one point because I
Yeah.
was like, wow,
Mhm.
you clocked me. Like, all right, got me
The
there.
whole thing is like the universe is sending you a message, or there's something that someone wants you to hear, because it's not only used in like pagan settings, it can be used in like Christian settings too. It's just not as popular to like use divination in like most monotheistic religions, but like
Yeah. It's like it's an interesting like balance between a bunch of different things, I
Yeah.
think. And it was honestly like this is an experience that was really comforting to me, and I would definitely do it again.
Yeah.
Tickets were only like $15,
Something like that.
and you're supporting like a community home basically, because they host events for free to like crafting community events. So like you're supporting a community space. It was really beautiful. And if you want to check out the Colvin House, do it. It was really, really pretty. We talk more about the architecture at the end of the video, but it was just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took a picture of my spread, and I can put that in here. But yeah,
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
See you soon.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
Welcome back. We've officially finished with our event.
And this is the lovely Olivia.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I go to DePaul, but friends with Lauren, of course, since high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, everything is an ally to DePaul.
Yeah. We're allies. We're allies to every beautiful thing.
We love everything because everything is beautiful.
But basically it was just such a beautiful time. Honestly, it was a place of connection, like with the other like lovely people that were there, but also like with the people that read our tarot. And honestly, a lot of Instagrams were gone tonight.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Definitely.
Olivia especially.
Oh, yes. I have to network. I'm a film major, so I'm networking with everyone. Like, it's always happening.
All the time.
But yeah, honestly, I feel like I would give tonight's event like a 10 out of 10.
Absolutely. I mean, Olivia and I are going to go to the one next weekend.
Yeah.
So.
If you're available on February 21st, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.,
Yep.
they have a Colvin Coven. It's free entry.
Free entry.
So definitely check it out. Yeah, it was crazy learning about spirituality and tarot cards. I feel like I really don't really have any experience when it comes to any of that stuff. And so like there was a moment at the end where everyone just took a second to reflect on everything that we learned. And honestly, like even from like Lauren and Olivia and also like a lot of the people there, like I've learned so much about like, I don't know, like people through spirituality and like all that, like everything that goes into like who you are as a person. And like astrology is just really, 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 how do I say, not complicate, complex.
It is.
It's complicated, but like in a really good way.
Yeah. I mean, like, I have been really into it for a few years now, and I still don't understand a lot of aspects to it. I feel like I understand my chart pretty well, but like reading the houses is pretty new to me. I remember I was really bothering one of my old friends about like the differences between, oh my god, my 8th house starts in Taurus, but like I have all these placements in Gemini in the 8th house, like and like the astrologer there who's mainly talking was like talking a lot about whole placement astrology, which is where like I'm a Libra rising. If you're a Libra rising, your 2nd house is Sagittarius, regardless, etc. Or not Sagittarius, Scorpio, etc. And I found that really interesting because I haven't really studied a lot of like whole sign astrology. Most of what you see online nowadays is Placidus. And yeah, I just found it really interesting, especially like I really liked the tarot readings, which is the main event of that whole thing. The ticket paid for your tarot reading, and we both assumed that they would be like in individual rooms and everything, but we got down there and they were all in the same room and like all had a different vibe and station, and it was really cool. Me personally, I wanted to know like what my steps would be to get like closer to the life that I wanted, or like just to obtain the future that I want, pretty much. And so my spread was pretty much a like, you're here now, you want to be here, here's what you have to do. And then an extra card like fell out of the deck that like relate a lot to like what I want and what I have to do, and I found that really interesting. Yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I asked about, I think, my life moving forward, and luckily I got a lot of good cards, which I was thankful and surprised about. I feel like I've been going through this like rebirth, like shedding period, and I think it was nice to hear that there's like good things coming, and like the energy that I bring is like that kind of nice, like feminine, like divine energy. And I was like, it was nice hearing that from like another perspective in person, which was really cool. So yeah, I really enjoyed my reading. I loved the person that I talked to. Also the room, like, and just the place we were in was super cool. It was very like, I don't even know how old it was. Like, I don't know if you can.
Yeah, so I talked to the one of the people that were running the event, and they told me that it was built in 1909 and then renovated again in the 1920s. So there's a lot of like beautiful architecture that like honestly, I 100% agree. The physical environment really encouraged, I think, the sharing atmosphere that we found in the tarot sessions and also in like the community that was like upstairs like like talking about all the astrology signs and everything. It was honestly like such a beautiful it was such a beautiful moment of connection, and having that one room I think honestly even like further like wanted like pushed me at least to share like maybe a little bit more intensely. Like I think like having I guess like the energy of other people like really pouring out their feelings, and no one like I don't want to say like no one cared about being heard, but that's kind of what it felt like. It's like everyone knew what they were there for, and so it was a very like welcoming and accepting environment. My tarot reader gave me a hug. Yeah, but it was just like a moment of grounding and like hearing messages that I think I've been excusing a lot in my own mind, but like seeing that from like a third person and someone that was like experienced in like spirituality, something that like I really don't have a lot of experience in, but them seeing this part of me that I didn't necessarily bring up, like they just read it off of me through like the cards and the energy. That was really eye opening, and I think that this is something that I would be very interested in doing again, like doing another or like going to some other tarot events again, just because I think it's so fascinating how much of your personality is truly seen through like the time you were born or like the place you were born and like what it means for like your personality growth and like things that might happen in your life and things like that. And there's a lot of like obviously like there's the saying that like take what resonates, but and leave what doesn't. So there's also there's that whole aspect of it. But honestly, I think that there was so much truth in my reading today that it was like so eye opening for me, and like I really see myself coming back.
Yeah, and like especially along that, I think having everyone in the same room was really to an extent important because it seemed like a big portion of the like whole event was creating a coven, and so like especially like within spirituality, which in like witchcraft, like having a coven, a group of people, like-minded people, is really important because a lot of your like strength and power comes from this coven. It comes from community, and so being able to be so vulnerable in a space with people is truly important. And also, who was wondering, this is Yuki. This is Olivia's cat.
Yes, say hi, Yuki. She's just gonna sniff the mic because she sniffs literally everything. So, she has to
She's a
get used
queen.
to it. Yes, Yuki is the best cat.
At least she's not gagging. And how old is Yuki?
Yuki is almost 2 years old. Her birthday's coming up. She's a Pisces, just like me. Her birthday's March, May 7th. I don't even know.
Fake.
I don't even know what months are anymore. March 7th.
Yeah.
My baby.
Yeah, right. Sure.
But yeah, it was a beautiful time, and yeah, it was just I think really really is a vulnerable time where people got together and felt a lot more sure of themselves, and like talking to the other people that were also around us. Like I feel like a lot of people like some people found out about it through TikTok, some people like got sent it like through friends and stuff like that. Like
I found out about it and sent it to these two.
and it's like it's crazy like how many like a variety of people that were there and like how people found out about it.
And I really liked the age ranges too.
Yeah, we might have been the youngest people in the room.
Definitely, I think so. And I really like that because hi baby. Because like yeah, I really like the idea of people finding community like no matter how old they are, no matter how young they are, etc. And there were some people who looked like in a nice way, like they were retired, and like people our age who are maybe not fully part of the workforce yet. And so I think like once again going to this idea of community, like finding people to be in a community with who you maybe not like would meet typically. You wouldn't maybe meet them like in your day to day or in your jobs or things like that.
No, it was so cool because I met some people who live in like the Lakeview area, and I feel like I've been trying to get to know new people who live around here, and some of them have like just moved here, so it was super nice to know that like people were just coming on their own to just meet new people, and I'm glad I was able to connect with them, and yeah, it was just a cool experience and very like a good sense of community. I feel like definitely.
Yeah, spirituality builds relationships. And it's something that we definitely saw in our experiences tonight.